From here, where do we go? Are we all blinded by fear? How do we know? How do we know? Where do we go? Where do we go? How do we know? Where do we go? Where are we going from here? How do we know? Where do we go? From here, don't let me go. Is it the calling we hear? How do we know? Where are we going from here? Where do we go? Are we all blinded by fear? How do we know? How do we know? Where do we go? Where do we go? How do we know? Where do we go? Where are we going from here? How do we know? Where do we go? From here, don't let me go. Is it the calling we hear? How do we know? by fear. How do we know? How do we know? Where do we go? Where do we go? How do we know? Where do we go? Where are we going from here? How do we know? Where do we go? From here, don't let me go. Is it the calling we hear? How do we know? Where are we going from here? Where do we go? Are we all blinded by fear? How do we know? How do we know? Where do we go? Where do we go? How do we know? Where do we go? Where are we going from here? How do we know? Where do we go? From here, don't let me go. Is it the calling we hear? How do we know? Where are we going from here? Where do we go? Are we all blinded by fear? How do we know? How do we know? Where do we go? Where
Raga, siamo in live.
Ok.
Che emozione.
Ma che cazzo.
Che
È
emozione.
troppo alta la musica nella tua cosa.
No, vabbè, adesso puoi andare a controllare. Vai a controllare che...
Eccolo, eccolo.
Gesù non è ancora arrivato, ecco, sta per arrivare.
Coming up.
Coming up.
Che
È
emozione.
troppo alta la musica nella tua cosa.
No, vabbè, adesso puoi andare a controllare. Vai a controllare che...
Eccolo, eccolo.
Gesù non è ancora.
Chi è che fa l'eco?
Non io, lo sento anch'io.
Qualcuno che ha la live aperta.
No, io l'ho chiusa.
Ok. Guarda la chat, hype.
Dove?
US guy, merda.
Beh, meglio di te che tu vai a scrivere i porconi, che tanto nessuno capisce.
Vabbè, ne scrivo un altro.
Qual è il
Jay-Z
problema di questo
Backfire.
tipo?
DLC7 hype.
C'è DLC.
Sono commenti in arabo.
Boh,
Ah, all'Akbar.
messaggio eliminato, grande.
Di chi? Di Panda?
No, dell'arabo.
Nell'arbo.
Veramente? Dai, non ci credo.
Ora scrivo all'app.
Vai sopra, no? Guarda se non ci credo. Faccia Mr. T-Lex fine.
C'è un altro arabo che ha scritto, vediamo se viene bannato anche quello.
No.
Sì.
Razzismo verso gli arabi.
Io ho scritto all'Akbar non mi hanno bannato.
Dove l'hai scritto? Dov'è?
Aspetta, lo riscrivo, guarda se appare che non mi abbiano bannato. Pronto? Vai.
No, non è uscito niente.
È sotto Daddy.
Daddy. No, non c'è.
Scrivilo te?
No. E poi bannano pure me.
Figurati. Ti bannano
Sì,
sul canale che non vedrai mai più.
Sì, però.
Io ora vi banno dal canale di Coscino, se scrivete qualcosa.
Io non scrivo niente. Il canale di zombie veste ce l'hai permesso.
No.
Allora vado a scrivere lì Panda Gay.
Scrivere la fantasia.
No, c'ho su Coscino e su Sal e basta.
E su?
Sal.
Ah, Pasare TV. Sal e Salvatore.
La Rocca.
La Rocca, esatto.
Pubblicità
Reagan Mark
occulta.
4. C'è uno che ha scritto Reagan Mark 4.
Ti immagini?
@NoahJ456 meme.
Ti immagini Mark 4?
Transit Remastered.
Non penso metteranno Transit Remastered mai.
Sì, ma no, ma non lo metteranno. Cioè, hanno trovato una parte di Transit sulla modalità di Battle Royale.
Ah sì, vabbè, quello sì, sicuramente l'avranno messo.
Shadows
Sì,
of Evil
risparmiano pezzi, no.
No, Shadow of Evil Remastered, no, vi prego. Vi prego.
Ma non ha senso.
Die Rise Remastered.
Già,
Sì, con
ci
nuovi
può
bug.
stare.
Ma basta i remastered, non ha senso.
Beh, lo fanno.
Sarà un remastered.
Cioè, quello probabilmente... Nuke. Quello ha scritto Nuke e Toen.
Nuke Toin.
Eccolo.
Pazzi.
Welcome back to the Coliseum. That's right. We got an awesome afternoon for you guys. Amazing games coming on stage to share some.
Ma io non voglio vedere te, sacco di merda.
C'è uno che ha scritto My S Remastered.
Vediamo con cosa entrerà adesso il Gesone.
Il Gesone.
Farà segni strani sicuro.
Segni satanici.
Guarda come sono saliti gli spettatori, guarda come salgono.
Beh.
Right now, we're going to move on to Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Eccolo.
Yes, I see many people with their Black Ops hats, so clearly you guys have probably already been to the booth, played it. We're gonna talk about something
Guarda
that's
quel
not in the news.
cinese.
We're gonna talk about zombies.
Magari era giapponese.
Hope that's okay with you
Sono
guys.
giapponese.
So let's
Cioè,
Guarda,
Era giapponese. Era
Era
giapponese.
quanti sono?
Come on out.
Eccolo.
Eccolo.
Il gesone.
Chi è il pelato?
Non è Wanderer.
Jason, Adam, Brian, great to have you guys with us here. Now, zombies, I was telling Jason backstage, I was talking to Mark Lamia from Prayer a few weeks ago, we were having dinner. I was saying, it was 10 years ago on my old Spike show that we revealed that there was this crazy idea of zombies in Call of Duty and World at War. It was right at launch. You guys had sort of not really
C'è la maglietta di Black Ops 4.
to make of it. Here we are a decade later.
Un po' brutta come maglietta, devo dire, eh?
Appreciated they absolutely
Strano che stavolta non si è messo gadget e robe.
zombies.
Magari
Perché ormai quella vera l'hanno già fatta.
Eh?
Quella vera l'hanno già fatta, la conferenza, qui parlano così tanto per, secondo me.
Where did this come from? You know, at the time, Call of Duty was very much rooted in reality, and when the franchise really started, it was very real. Cinematic at times, but super real. So this concept of kind of just twisting things a little bit and introducing zombies, like what was the genesis of that?
Well, I mean, one thing that you can't take away from the creation of it is the time in the project when it was created.
Che maglia è?
Ma non è Call of Duty.
Right at the point where teams are
No.
the most stressed, you know, everything's going to be impacted.
Pensavo fosse di Call of Duty, infatti era un po' bruttina per essere...
Subsequently, there's so many different stories about where it kind of came from, because all the different voices.
Everyone tira fuori qualcosa dalle tasche.
But what I can say,
Tira fuori la Mark 4.
you know, holding the torch.
No,
Sì,
no.
vabbè, certo.
Part of my job was to go back and kind of talk to people and look at stuff and find out different opinions on it. It came from the design department, and that idea was floated, and then different groups in the studio kind of came together and started adding stuff. You know,
Was it like
Ma non dice
let's
niente.
put zombies in the game, or let's come up with a different game mode, or
to my understanding, it was, you know, looking at the assets they had. They had, I think it was Pelelu. I think it was an explosion with these kind of soldiers stumbling around the place.
Parla del
And the kind
nulla.
of- They look like zombies.
In
So it's like
effetti.
use that animation, kind of bring that in, and then kind of different groups, different areas. You know, be it sound or animation.
No, beh, qualcosa diranno, cioè...
When I got a request for zombie sounds, I'm like, wait, what? We're making Call of Duty, but you know, it's just grown and turned into something so special especially for us.
yeah.
And that's why it was, you know, and because of that way that it was created, that's why it's something that we're very proud of, which was different people just coming together and making something, you know, just adding the different kind of talents, the different kind of groups. It was something that at the time lots of people said we shouldn't do.
Right.
And I wasn't actually on the project at that point in time, but I would have said that as well.
Well, no,
Because when
and it's just so different. And you know, you said it's one thing to have, you know, an Easter egg, right, or a zombie that shows up in a level or something. But this was, you know, like a new game mode. That the idea of waves, of sort of, you know, that whole. Yeah, I mean, Adam, you were obviously involved in, you know.
Però stanno facendo vedere qualche gameplay, ma sono tutti di BO2, cioè... BO3.
Where did that come from?
it was, so as it's been told to me, it was that idea of kind of tower defense.
Yeah.
The idea of tower defense games that were very
That's true.
popular.
I think you're right. I do remember.
Ma in realtà sono tutti Chronicles.
And that's where, you know,
Prima
you get to
c'era
jump
World
in
of
there and then use 3D
Sì.
assets in a first person.
Sì, è un po' di roba che mi hanno buttato lì a cazzo.
And, you know, the big kind of love of zombies hadn't really caught steam. So
Potevano far vedere
were
qualcosa di
there,
più interessante.
You know, doing the kind of zombie material. But it was so out of left field that the part of the conversation with Activision was, okay, you can put it in, but we're not going to promote this. We're not going to talk about this with anyone. And I think, to be honest, part of its success was due to that, because then it became the kind of people's game. It was the people's mode, rather than if we promoted it and marketed
I
it.
remember it because we were doing an episode of TV show, and it was, I think it was like the week before launch or something, and then we just sort of hinted at this other thing, and I think everyone online was like, "What are they talking about?" Because you're right, it was pretty hidden. Like, how was it close to not happening?
Absolutely. I mean, there was. We had to put it in front of certain Activision executives. And it was
Unnamed Activision.
It was done in a kind of closed room. I mean, I've told this story before, but it's put in this kind of closed room where we'd bring an executive in and say, "Okay, play this," and then, you know, we don't need to do this. You can walk away.
Right.
And then we'd get emails back that would say, "I got to round 20."
Right.
You know, I got to round 25. So these executives were like getting so competitive about it. That's when we kind of knew.
Oddio.
Put it in.
Il
But,
primo piano su Nicolai è bruttissimo. Su...
Non
Nicolai. Che cazzo dico? Che cazzo ho detto? Il primo piano su... Cazzo, non mi viene il nome. Il giapponesino di merda là. Takeo. Mamma mia, non mi viene il nome.
Ma...
Mamma mia, quanta gente ci ho ucciso io con quella trappola. Non zombie, gente sì.
Basta, dite qualcosa di interessante.
Sì, vabbè, all'inizio devono creare un po' di... capito? Devono allungare un po' il brodo. Perché sicuramente le cose che possono dire sono...
Niente da dire.
Ma no, perché sicuramente le cose che possono dire sono poche. Che ti possono spoilerare il mondo.
It was unbelievable. Like we started, you know, Call of Duty is all about being as real as possible. So everything needs to be realistic and grounded. And
every gun report.
Ah, quella è la maglia di Bio 4.
Right? And then when the zombie thing happened, it was like, oh, this is
Fa cagare lo
something
stesso.
completely different. And
Questo comunque è quello che fa le soundtrack.
work on it is completely different. So it was really refreshing, and it completely energized my entire team.
Well, and you know, as you said, it really is one where you can brainstorm, right? And I think, like, you know, when you make a traditional Call of Duty, it's kind of like, all right, here's our period and our setting, and, you know, there's within limits you can sort of do things. Where zombies, I imagine you sort of have a blank slate in terms of what it's going to be every year, and, you know, sometimes I know it'll tie to the sort of fiction or time period of some of the games. Other times it's just, you know, completely divorced.
Well, when it was first created,
La cosa qua dura 45 minuti.
Intervista non penso.
La prossima cosa è tra 45 minuti.
Che
Ma
palle,
va.
45 minuti. Ehi, ma c'è Triptych Panda che scrive in chat. Pazzesco. Panda Triptych.
Se iniziano i gameplay di Bio 4 magari fanno qualche linea.
Have some first-person voice in Verrect where we had kind of a bland set of characters, but the problem was it was hard to tell who was who.
Però è tossico.
Because they were very similar actors reading a very similar script. So
Perché?
one of the guys at some point.
Non lo so, mi dà l'aria di tossico l'altro, il secco.
Un motociclista questo.
Non questo, l'altro, il secco. Chi è il secco, Dani?
Yeah, because I mean,
È secco.
Quello al centro tra Jason e il pelato.
Ora non mi viene. Probabilmente se vedo il suo nome mi viene a... Vediamo se compare il nome. Cosa compare il nome.
Still those waves of zombies, that's part of it, but then, you know, the idea of, you said, introducing, you know, characters, time periods. I mean, when you track sort of the past decade of zombies, are there certain moments to you that...
Cioè stanno facendo vedere il gameplay di Bio 3, cioè il gameplay. Più che altro sono le cinematiche che abbiamo...
4.
Di Bio 4, sì. Più che altro sono le cinematiche che hanno fatto vedere anche al reveal.
I think I've said this in the past, which was, he said, how did you feel about that? I was like, I was crapping myself. You know, it was the scariest thing I'd ever had in my professional career, which was given something that was so beloved by so many, and then say, okay, now make something new. And there's always that pressure to be respectful of the thing that came before and the success of it, but then also not to rest on your laurels and to go further. You know, Zombies very much has a rock and roll, anti-authority streak straight through it. You know, when you hear the kind of origin of this mode, it's been...
Ma queste scene l'avevano fatto vedere nel reveal, non mi sembra.
Certo.
Non me la ricordo.
Taking that idea that comes at the last second and putting it, and I feel very passionate about that's how we keep Zombies fresh and how we keep it new. But you can't just kind of do that and just be pulling it out the air every 5 seconds. So it's that combination of the rebel kind of craziness combined with a structure that you need to make sure that these professionals also can then take that and build a coherent world, right? So that's the thing that we've kept on going as we've kind of gone forward. So it's introduce new maps, introduce new ideas, take something that everyone would say is sacrosanct and say, okay, let's put that on one side for a moment, or let's take something that you all assume is absolutely solid and change it.
No, that was always, when you were doing, you do DLC map packs, I was like, it's cool for new maps, but then when you would always talk about here's what's coming from zombies, it would just be themed in such an interesting, different way. You just immediately be like, it feels like a new game, right? And there was that freshness that I think excited a lot of the fans that you guys were just doing something completely out there.
Well, and it's a hard thing, right? Because the fans, you guys, would say
they're right here.
would say, this is something which, okay, it needs to go here next. And there's that kind of pressure, which is okay, delivering for the fans to keep them happy, but also sometimes taking that left turn is what they need also. So that's the delicate balance between, not just trolling, but also looking to kind of change it, because that's how you reinvent it for a new generation.
No, and that's part of the thing I think is the continuity, because you guys have definitely gone in a bunch of different directions with it, and it's fresh, but also, as you said, people have favorites, like what happened to these characters, what we go back to this setting. Adam, from your perspective in the animation team, I imagine whenever these ideas get dreamed up, it allows you guys to sort of think of completely different environments. I mean, is that sort of the zombies what everyone wants to work on, because it's so
I do. I love it. And what's fun for me is right next door is Craig's office.
Yeah.
So when Jason and Craig come out of there full of energy,
No, maybe
all right, what are we doing? Let us know. Come on. And then as soon as he tells us, the animation team, we just love to go and just start to create, come up with ideas, talk with Jason, try to refine these ideas, and we're just so full of energy and excitement because it's so fantastical and full of wonder, and we can try new techniques and new approaches to storytelling. It's just, it's a blast.
And audio-wise, as Jason said, very much, kind of rock and roll anti-establishment, so allows you guys to definitely flexibility for muscle too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's just so many varied experiences across all of our maps going back to the beginning, and it's always this new challenge. Like, how are we going to do the moon? Right? There's no sound there.
Discord che si bugga.
È strano.
Creatively really empowering to work on.
Appena si bugga, twitta Fortnite, sarà un caso.
No. Per niente.
Too far, I mean, I'm sure you put it back on the shelf, but are there sort of the lost zombies,
Yeah, I mean, so zombies, coming from the beginning, right? Zombies comes from the spare bits left over.
Yeah.
Right, and so that's always been in our kind of DNA when we look at zombies. So if we try and do something, and maybe it doesn't work out this project, it gets put aside and then comes back. There was a DLC for World at War that never made it. Well, you look at the
Stamani con l'account del Sommo ho perso una partita porca troia.
So sometimes we'll try an idea, sometimes it doesn't come through.
Con 0 kill è riuscito a uccidermi, la stavo vincendo, aveva 8 di vita. L'avevo chiuso fuori safe.
A lot of great ideas.
Il mio sogno era guadagnare.
Stiamo parlando di cose che si sanno già.
Ma infatti non dicono niente.
Potrebbero parlare tipo della Deluxe, la quarta mappa.
Shinonuma for me, just because it was the Ultimates crew, and we introduced them for the first time. And if you look back, I think that map's a little underrated. It actually plays really well, but also a lot of the things in that map grew into what we have today. So I always look back, I got excited when we remastered it recently. So I'm like, I get to go back to the beginning of the characters, which is cool.
Yeah, I agree. The audio on that just blew my mind. Like, I loved zombies before that, but I remember playing in that hut where you start off and you're looking out the windows and you could just hear the zombies creeping up. It's it drew me in. I love that map.
I'm biased, so I'm going to say more about that.
Yeah. You're into that.
That's just a shameless plug for Blood of the Dead right there. But for me it was, and again, one of those maps where we get to take a left turn and try something different. And every time you do that, you never know what's going to kind of stick and what's going to work. And I just felt really happy that we got the vibe, and it was one of the first ones where we all went out on location. So we all went down to San Francisco and recorded and captured all the textures and all this kind of fun stuff. So I felt like all the components were working in kind of tandem and kind of telling that story.
Yeah, and that movie was a lot of fun to make too.
Yeah, the movie as well. Yeah.
Oh, black and white. And, a lot of fun.
So that's why I just think it's such a white space that you guys just every year get to kind of come up, or every 3 years get to come up with something crazy. I guess with DLCs you do.
Oh yeah, it's like, let's do Stalingrad, but let's put a huge dragon in there while we're at it. Or let's do World War I with massive robots.
Fits in the picture. I mean, is there we should talk a bit about the canon of zombies? Because
Yeah.
you push in so many different directions. I mean, is there the official lore? I mean, how much do you track in terms of
There is the official law. There is
Okay.
the official timeline that we released when we did
Yeah.
Chronicles.
That's
So
right,
we
right,
put
yeah.
the huge timeline out, and that was a trip. So we we had it all being kind of logged in a kind of roundabout way, you know, a napkin here or a post-it note there, and I popped into the narrative team and said, "Hey guys, just got a little bit of a weekend task for you. Can
Make
you just
this all
write-
work."
Can you just write down the entire storyline in one
Yeah.
coherent way?"
Yeah.
And I think it was like 2.5 months later to actually correlate it all and bring it all together. So yes, there's an official.
It all works somehow.
It all works, but here's the thing: in the same way in the cinematics or in the audio, it's sometimes it's not just the things that you tell, but the things that you don't tell, and that's just as much of an active choice, you know. So sometimes it's the negative space in the picture rather than the detail.
We'll go fill in at some point. We've also had some really great celeb cameos over the years. It's one of the, sort of my favorite moments, or some of the talent that comes in. Again, you know, Black Ops has had some great talent in the main game, but Zombies you have as well. Any favorites?
Bless you. My one, I'm going to go with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh yeah.
Jeff was a force of nature. So normally when you do VO recording, someone kind of goes in the booth, you're sitting out there with your audio director, and they'll read the line, and then they'll do it 3 times, then you say, I'll take the B tape, or I'll take the A tape.
Yeah.
Jeff came in, and we just let it run. Because he would, you know, he'd just kind of warm in and be like, yes, well, yes, the shield is quicker than the eye, and just kind of do it like a couple of times, right? And he would just go there, and then he would read the next person's lines as well.
Yeah.
Well, what has my wife done? You know, just started
That's
going
what
for
needs
it.
to be released.
Yeah, and it was so good that we just couldn't call takes.
Yeah.
So he was absolutely amazing. Yeah.
And I'm sure from animation cinematics perspective, it's fun because often you've had, you know, the characters look like those actual talents, right? Any fun stories for you, Adam?
Well, one of the first celebrity ones that we did was with Michael Rooker.
That's right,
on Call of the Dead, and that was a lot of fun. The energy he brought there was just infectious. You know, he took it all seriously. He brought his A performance every single time. There was times we had to be like, whoa, 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 they're not real, you know, but he would go in there and have this energy of like, come here, I'm going to get, you know, it was so much fun to work with that guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Right?
I mean, my favorite's Rooker also.
Yeah.
He was amazing. But, you know, the celebrity maps just kind of gave us all yet another break on this narrative thing
That's a
we
good
were
point,
on.
yeah.
So, like, I actually love all those maps for completely different reasons.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
Now, you know, one thing we haven't talked about, which we absolutely should, is the community that has built around zombies. And, you know, the Easter eggs, I mean, it's fascinating. I remember years ago on YouTube, I'd be watching, like, Noah J or something. It was like all these people watching his stream months after the game was come out.
Perché
and
dice di
searching
Noah?
for something. It's been so much fun. Tell us a bit about the zombies community, many of which are probably here today at E3. They are so passionate about this mode. And tell me sort of about the evolution of that, and I think the fun sort of relationship that Treyarch has with the community.
Yeah, well, I would say that their passion is what inspires us to do the best work of our career.
Absolutely.
It's the fact that they're so into it that drives us. It sounds cliche, but it truly is, because we feel this expectation when we see that kind of passion, we see that level of engagement. It's like, okay, how do we go further? How do we make them something they're not expecting? And you know, those early days, a lot of those fan theories and a lot of that conversation is what got folded straight back into the storyline. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, the very first Easter egg was a hidden song written by Kevin Sherwood, who works for Treyarch. And we hid it in Verruck because we made it, and it was like, oh, this is actually a pretty cool song. What can we use it for? Like, well, let's just put it as an Easter egg in Verruck and see how long it takes people to find it. It was like an hour. But that was really inspiring. It's like, oh, people are into that. They should hide more stuff. And so it's kind of how, that's why we even call the quest line Easter eggs still, even though it's no longer really an Easter egg. But yeah, it's really cool watching the community discuss all these things. And, you know, early on, websites were springing up, and now there's YouTubers everywhere. It's just amazing to be a part of.
We've learned not to say this one will take ages, because every time we say anything like that or indicate that, oh, this is a big one, they've got it in 24 hours.
But I mean, tell me about that sort of, you know, the gamesmanship of you guys, you know, creating things.
Perché stanno
You know,
tutti
there's definitely
spammando free DLC?
there's a relationship with that community of sort of like,
Perché
how does
vogliono
that
i
work
free DLC?
brainstorming? Like,
Ma mi
Easter
sa su
eggs,
quello della Play che
stuff, you know,
regalano il
getting
gioco e
hunt
vogliono anche i
is part of
DLC.
the fun.
Oh, I try, you know,
Perché regalano il
I think
gioco?
about it in different levels or different
Sì.
scope to think about. Here's
Quale
the easy
gioco?
ones that
Bio 3?
people can just easily
Bio
do,
3.
and here's ones that
Ah.
you know they're probably gonna have to
C'è
work
uno
with
che
the team to
continua a
kinda get,
scrivere
and then here's ones that
nigger e
are
gli
nigh
tolgo
on
gli
the
elimino.
they're not gonna get these. They usually then do.
Fortnite is a
By thinking about it in
cancer.
kind of different ways, there's
No, l'hanno
different
eliminato.
levels of people, you know, their engagement. There's always something else. There's always another depth them to kind of discover. But over the years,
Hai
it's
ragione.
gotten more and more complicated. I started off with a computer
Beh, di
science
sicuro non aveva
background in
torto.
programming, so I was like, oh, I'll do the ciphers. I'll do this. You know, they've already exhausted me now. I've got nothing left now. That's all the trickiness over now. So everything's just going to be straightforward. You know, press X to.
Well, that again, like that's why, you know, some people will play to find those, other people will watch someone else play to find them.
Oh, è
It's,
ricomparso
you know,
Panda, guarda.
that's what's fun. Are there any Easter eggs that have
Cosa?
not been found?
È ricomparso il tuo messaggio.
Yeah.
Ah, meno male.
Your task is at hand.
Yeah.
Can you tell us which game?
Allora non mi hanno bannato.
No.
Come on.
No, avranno solo cancellato il...
Well, here's the thing. So there's a whole bunch that haven't been found, and there's a bunch that they haven't got through it yet. But but when we get into the end, so I try to have a careful relationship with the community, which is close enough but not too close.
Okay.
Because if you get too close, then you're just following what they're asking for.
Yes.
But you want to be aware. You don't want to be deaf to it. So trying to be.
Guarda, gli arabi glieli cancellano
You know,
subito.
questions that get asked and say, okay, which one?
Boh,
you know,
magari
what's the
scrivono
Guarda,
other
mi
one?
fanno
Allahu
sempre a
Akbar.
scrivere.
I like to be a little bit more separated, and then I'll have people on the team tell me like, oh, they haven't found that one yet. I'm like, okay.
Guarda.
But I mean, I'm just curious, like, are there dozens?
Vabbè, dipende sempre che cazzo hanno scritto, no?
On the
magari scrivono Allahu Akbar.
there's, you know,
Come fanno a sapere cosa scrivono? Poi non fanno in tempo a scrivere.
C'è il modo per mettere delle parole bannate in pratica.
Ma non apparirebbero
Handful, so
yeah.
5.
direttamente.
Five.
I didn't say how.
No, no,
how
appaiono per un millisecondo e poi...
But
E poi comunque i moderatori...
It's give nondescript answers.
Comunque i
Perché
moderatori...
scrivono 11 settembre in chat. Guarda, un'altra scritta araba. La parola sparisce.
How, you know, the Easter eggs,
Ah,
how big of a
sparì.
conversation is it?
Comunque, Panda,
ARG like these things are going to be.
ci sono i moderatori che vedono prima le scritte sulla chat e quindi hanno il tempo di bannare.
No, no, appaiono tutte insieme. le scritte.
Sì, ho capito, ma i moderatori le vedono prima.
When we get into the end of the previous story, we were putting
Boh.
more things in ciphers, making it a lot harder because each one could give so much gold, even a small amount.
Yeah.
But when you go to a new story, then it's almost like a rewinding the mentality back to the beginning, where it's a bit more overt about the story because you want to get people vested and into what's going on, all this kind of stuff. So the mentality has changed as well.
Yeah.
Well, something like you know, A Blood of Dead, so forth. You know, you can go a little bit more hardcore.
Hanno smesso di
because,
scrivere
you know, there's
11
fans who are
settembre.
really wanting to know the smallest little bit. So, so kind of combining it and talking about different techniques, whether it be in an animation or be a sound Easter egg. And sound.
Comunque sta
being there
diventando
from the
noioso.
beginning,
Sì, ma infatti
has a
non
very
cazzo.
special place in my heart, the kind of sound Easter eggs or the audio ones, because that's
Ora,
where they
scrivo
first
un
came
bel
from, those
commento.
ideas, those recordings, you know, hidden, press X on something that wouldn't tell you, and then some audio log would play. Going into the new story.
Cosa ha scritto? Io ho paura di quello che ha
back
scritto.
to that mentality.
Cosa ha
Yeah, no,
scritto?
it's amazing what you guys have.
Quello sopra di me aveva scritto Forza Trump e l'hanno bannato.
On May 17th, he definitely
Cos'è che hai scritto
revealed
tu?
a lot
Yes.
earlier than I think
Guarda
we
in
ever
chat.
had,
Yes,
right?
yes.
On Zombies.
Ah?
It was a
Guarda in chat.
of all
Non posso.
Dite qualcosa.
team approaching
Dite
this,
qualcosa.
you know, 3-year dev cycle. When you start out,
E
you know,
non
on
solo.
this new cycle, a couple years ago on Black
Guarda.
Ops Zombies,
Sei stato bannato perché hai scritto
you
Trump.
guys want to accomplish?
Allora lo scrivo io. Trump
The
gay.
big thing we were going after was
Vediamo se mi
starting
banna.
a new story. We've been telling the previous story for 10 years, and there was so much creativity in the team.
Sì, vedi quelli sopra hanno scritto
Bless you,
Trump e è
the large
sparito. Il mio non
majority
è
of the team
sparito.
who are here today were there 10 years ago. You know, when we did
Non è,
Chronicles, for
non è
example,
proprio scritto.
most of the people who made those maps
sì.
were making
Non è
them
uscito il tuo
Korean.
messaggio.
And that's why, you know, when Brian's talking
E allora
about
me l'hanno bannato.
the joy of going back for the sound, the designers were doing that as well, kind of going back and scripting stuff as well. So,
Guarda quello, l'ha scritto tutto attaccato per non farsi bannare. Fat Trump cock.
building up, and you're like, okay, could we jam this into the
Guarda,
story?
Renato ha scritto
Sure
chi
we
è
could.
Trump, guarda,
But,
ecco, bannato.
we kind of know where we want to go with that, and so very early on.
Guarda quanti lo stanno scrivendo.
Trump is sex.
Guarda, Papa.
Donald Duck.
But then that's all scary, because now you're starting something that the audience doesn't know, you're going to reveal for the first time.
You can say Obama, but not Trump.
Drives the team. That's what made zombies
È
in the
più
first
divertente
place.
leggere i commenti che la live.
Who knows, you know? So taking all the things
Obama
that
out,
the
the legis.
and being able to start a
No,
new
Obama?
story, new mechanics and new ideas.
Out, ma che cazzo?
That's what's driving us. That's what's keeping it exciting. That's what's keeping it fresh. And that's what's kind of keeping the team alive and excited.
So on like a 3-year dev cycle like this, you know, the zombies always sort of have a similar cadence in terms of when you come up with the idea and execute it. I mean, you're obviously
Trunk,
doing it
lo scrivo.
so, you know,
Trunks.
I guess I'm wondering the
Trunks.
evolution of the zombies
Banni.
sort of a 3-year cycle,
Yeah.
prototyping it, because obviously some of it, you know, is building off of what the team is doing on the main game too, in terms of systems and technology and everything. So you sort of have to ramp up with the main game in some ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like an asset sharing. So, for instance, like the weapons, the multiplayer pretty much dictates the weapon selection we're going to have for the map, and then we'll highlight.
Can I say banana?
These are the special weapons, or these are the wonder weapons, whatever that's going to be. But then, because the zombies mode has grown so much, it's turned to a point now where it has its own kind of feature list, where we're talking about its own game.
Che live di merda.
Before it was just like.
Zio, non ci posso fare niente se non parlano di un cazzo.
We want this. There you go.
And I think even probably, you know, animation-wise, I mean, you get, you know, we saw from the reveal, I mean, massive cutscene.
Cioè, è passata mezz'ora ancora non ho detto
New
niente.
team, I'm sure, is a huge part of what you guys do every year.
Absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we were reviewing something before we came over here.
Tell us more.
wait, what are you doing?
Cut his mic.
Yeah, but no, but like this new crew, these new 4 are very interesting characters, and we're very excited to explore them and grow them and help them come to life and reveal more about them over time. But to me, that's very exciting, you know, because
Donald Trump.
we want to explore new ways to tell stories or what not to tell. And
why'd you point at me when you said that?
Because
Però hanno
we
messo
like
in
to
primo
go
piano un
animation
gameplay.
company, we like to go crazy, and Jason has to come in and tell us, whoa, hold on.
I killed the fun. That's what he said.
No, not at all. No. The collaboration is great, but you know, us as animators love to just see how far we can take that, and then working with Jason and other.
Questo da leggendo i commenti.
Even complementing it with the music.
Ora
we
ricorda
very
Lia.
early on.
No.
And how do these scenes and the audio work together? I mean, it's a real collaborative effort, and through that it makes it a lot of fun, and we're all working together and
Call of Duty is dead.
disciplines talking about things like.
Ma non hai visto il messaggio di Cotta lì?
Non è comparso per fortuna.
Sì, è comparso, è comparso.
No, non c'è.
Io l'ho letto lì.
Segnala.
The hidden track in the beginning. When we got a little bit later on, we were like, okay, what can we do with this? Let's do music.
Speriamo che lo
videos
tolga.
now. Let's like tell stories now
Exactly right.
with the music.
The one was the first music video too. It was basically
Right. So that idea of like, okay, let's take the lyrics and then the imagery that we marry with
scrivono
it,
tutti
can then tell the community new things, right? All the way to the point where you get to
Oggi Nicole che scrive
where are we going, right?
giocatore
Where
scarso.
we're like selling this kind of creepy vibe and a very different song, very different kind of performance. So again, using the kind of different disciplines, different groups to tell stories, and that's really the kind of key to it.
And like I was saying earlier, what I like about it too, it's our stories aren't just about the movies anymore. It's about how much you want to engage with the story. The more you interact with it and hearing the characters talking to each other, like what they just say, and depending on what your combo is, you get more information. And I really love
lì a compare ogni
working
tanto.
that story out.
I think what's cool about it is if
Segnalamo di nuovo.
and if you just want to slay your
Segnala.
dead, it's all there.
Adolfo Obama.
And now, you know, so much variety too, right? 3 adventures on launch day.
Yep.
You know, crazy
Yes,
things like Voyage
Ricottaro.
of Despair. I mean, it's like, I'm sure, as you said, there's stuff on not on the cutting room floor. It just gets pushed off to, you know, the DLCs or things like that. How did the campaigns that you are shipping, tell us a bit about why you decided to push forward with those for launch.
I can't really. So when you're starting a new story off,
Ancora,
this kind of
la
goes to
ricotta
a question
lì.
I might not
Segnala
take
di
the floor from
nuovo.
you, which is, you know, in the early days,
Segnala
it was, okay,
anch'io.
here's an idea, and then, okay, we've got this level,
Yeah.
let's put another idea here. And as we
Bam.
get further and further along, we had to plan a little bit further out, a little bit more, you know, further out. And you get to this situation now where when you're starting a new crew, for its success, you need to really kind of think it all the way down the line. But then also, for people who are driven by narrative and our kind of storytelling, it's also important not to tell it in order, but for it not to be timey-wimey for the sake of it, if you will.
Yeah.
So, Voyage and
Io la metto dislike alla live perché mi sono rotto il cazzo.
are two key points in the storyline that we told.
Mettetelo anche voi.
Not saying necessarily where they are in the story.
So, but it is. So it sounds there is interconnectedness.
Absolutely, yeah. But that's the, you know, that's the part that we also want the fans to kind of investigate. So as they're playing, you know, when saying about you're not going to get the same line every single time, whoever's next to each other, that's going to allow them to start kind of connecting those
Vado a
threads.
mettere il pilone.
You know, the timeline coming out in Chronicles was appropriate because everyone's been through that stuff.
Yeah.
This one, I would put the challenge out to the community to start making the timeline before I have to.
You gotta give more though. Come on. You also announced you're doing a fourth map, classified, right?
Yes.
Proprio quando va via Panda.
Right. Getting the question you guys want to hear. So, break it down. What can you tell us?
What can I tell you?
La quarta mappa.
Unclassified.
The clues in the title. Well, it's going to be based in.
Ecco.
Okay.
What?
And it's
This guy just gave him a shake. Was that what your guess? Okay, there's a bet. What was the bet?
Which crew then? Okay, let me tell you this way. So it's the original crew.
Ha detto la
So
mappa?
it's the Ultimus game.
No.
So Black Ops 4 is going to have our Primus crew in there, and also our Ultimus crew in our new game as well. So
all right, Jason.
Ultimus.
And that's gonna set up some of the craziness that we saw in 5. You know, why did that happen? How did they get there? All that kind of good stuff. And it's a wonderful style. We're kind of approaching it in a very unique way artistically.
Oh wow.
But it also kind of folds into all those kind of mechanisms that we talked about on the reveal. So the kind of custom mutations and so forth. All that stuff then works as well. So every map that we're doing all works with the challenger system and so forth. So not only is it a kind of brand new take on that part of the storyline, and it's a joy to go back and update
No,
it,
neanche io
modernize
ci
it,
sto capendo un
but
po'.
it's a new part in the story also.
I
Così.
mean, it's just it's
traduci.
insane how much
Vai.
stuff has to
No.
interconnect and all be sort
Stop.
of planned together. I mean,
Devo ascoltare.
and this is being developed alongside the three.
Sì, ma non ha detto la mappa.
Non sto capendo se sta dicendo...
Straight after this, I've got to take these guys home because they've got to go back to work. So,
Yeah, exactly.
after this project.
No, and I mean even for you guys, you know, you've got the entire game to sort of think about, and I mean you stay focused primarily, I guess, on zombie stuff. But for you guys, I mean now, it feels like zombies is a big part of what the audio and art teams are working on every year, right? I mean, how do you, cause, you know, at least, and now MP obviously is big, and then Blackout and everything, but it's zombies is so different. Does it take sort of a disproportionate amount of resources because it's so new?
That's a good question. I don't think so. The way we have our, like in the animation side, we have our teams broken up in the different subgroups. We have cinematics, AI, and player animations. So as we start to develop and design these games, we start putting the resources and the energy in the right places. So it never really feels disproportionate at all. It's just part of the game development cycle.
I've got to call out for our amazing production department that makes all this stuff work. They're the kind of unsung heroes of all this because, we have obviously our talent and our kind of energy that we're kind of going into different disciplines, but they're sitting in the background making sure all these pieces fit together. So.
Let me text on that question. What do you guys think?
And audio, I mean, you're doing different sort of soundscapes.
Yeah, I mean, I got to keep people from begging me to work on zombies. That's the easy one.
All right.
Yeah, everybody loves working on it. It's just so much fun. It's so different. If you need to shift gears or you're not feeling creatively inspired on some other part of the game, hey, there's a zombies task for you right here.
Well, that's a good point because I imagine even for the team, you know, working on the same style of game for so many years, it's like, you know, to have this fresh creative palette with zombies every year, I think it feels like a new game. I mean, when you see those trailers for what you guys are doing this year for 3 campaigns, it's kind of like
It's fresh every map.
Exactly.
It's every map.
Every new map that comes out, we're like, what are we doing now? All right.
What's it going to be? And in many ways, you can do whatever you want because I feel like now, time period setting, it's like there is.
Lì
Is there
hai
anything that
fatto
you
di
guys
buona
impose
decisione.
that you're like, no, this is too crazy? Like, it just doesn't work.
Geniale.
It's. I mean, that's what makes it fun, right? You know.
No, possibile che
there's
ancora
very
non l'hanno
few
tolto.
times in a person's career where you have that opportunity. You know, as game professionals, our job is to make the project work and make it to the best of our ability. When you have a project that's so open-ended and supported by the fans so lovingly, it gives us the freedom to be able to try new things, go to new places, and that keeps us alive and fresh with the kind of creativity. And hopefully, you know, they feel that. You know, the community feels it. You know, I've said before, which is hopefully when you're playing zombies, you can feel every discipline's love for the mode itself coming through. I'm a bit hippie in that way. I feel like if people are loving what they're doing, then you feel it on the receiving end. So that's what we endeavor to do on zombies all the time.
Well, speaking of the community, I know we've got some. I've got a video question from a Facebook fan over at the E3 Hall that wanted to ask you something about that. So we want to take a look now at the video question from fan on Facebook.
So my question is basically, will any of the previous Zombies lore tie in to the new game? Any of the story continuation or even references to the existing lore, since it was such a great story?
A wonderful question. Yes, that'll be tied into Blood of the Dead.
Okay,
So
right,
Blood of the Dead carries on that story. That was easy. I got away with that one.
In fact,
I thought that was going to be a hard one.
With a whole map of theories and like asking you to confirm X, Y, and Z on the timeline.
Yeah, Blood is. I won't say anything more on where that fits in, but it's. Yes, it's carrying on that story.
All right, I think we have another one. Second question. Fan over at the website.
Hi, I was wondering if you ever see yourself introducing zombies into the Battle Royale mode as something that might distinguish you from other games that are coming out with Battle Royale modes.
All right, get some blackout scoop. Here we go. Don't tell Vaughn.
Oof. I would. I'm going to use my catch-all answer, which is never say never.
Yes. I mean, when they revealed Black, I mean, he was sort of saying pretty much everything in the world of Black Ops somehow will factor into
Well, yeah, I mean,
this
the kind of, you know, obviously our characters, and we showed that on our reveal.
Yeah.
You know, locations may also make an appearance there. So there's already kind of a certain level of it, but, you know, who knows how that goes, right?
Are you, I mean, how involved are you in sort of, I mean, Blackout, like obviously you got a lot to do, but that's something that...
We're actually staying focused all on our dedicated zombie side. We have dedicated teams for each one of these things. So the maps we're doing for launch, which obviously there's 4 maps there, you know, plus a DLC season coming down the road. We've got more than enough to focus on.
There's a lot there. Now I'm sure, you know, everyone's wondering when we're going to get more on this. It was cool, you know, in May to get details on these campaigns earlier than ever before. Traditionally, I think you guys have held for kind of Comic-Con or summertime to sort of start to share what zombies are later.
Yeah, forget what we know.
There's
my marketing line.
Any teases you can sort of tell us about, you know, when we'll hear more or the next sort of phase of information on zombies?
So the next time we'll be talking, we'll be at Comic-Con.
Okay.
So we're going to go to Comic-Con, be chatting there. But because we knew you were going to come along today and have the chat with you, there's a couple extra little things that I thought I'd talk about.
You guys into that? Pays to stick around until the end of the panel.
So we talked about maps, and we mentioned that, and obviously introduced the new storyline. And we talked about, I think, custom mutations. We talked about that a little bit. I thought I'd mention a couple of new mechanics or twists on mechanics that the audience might find interesting. So for the first time, we're going to give a choice for your starting weapon. So you get to select your starting weapon before you start the map. You'll also be able to select your own special equipment as well to kind of go into the map before you start. For everything. And then you'll also be able to select your special weapon, which you'll be able to upgrade and move through as you kind of play in the game. And then as a final point, you'll also be able to choose your what we're calling perk vapors, of which there'll be over 10 different kind of perk vapors. You'll be able to assign them into the world. So rather than having your kind of perk machines just kind of static and staying there, now players will be able to kind of choose what combination of things and how to set it up into the map to change the way the map is played and what abilities and skills they can then have.
Può mettere i perk dove vuoi, ma che
I was going to
cazzo?
say, so this is
That's an
definitely
exclusive for you.
Thank you there.
Ho capito bene.
You know, I like those. That's amazing. I mean, it feels like that's going to obviously allow so much more customization. I mean, you can load out effectively.
I perk li puoi mettere dove cazzo ti pare, nella mappa.
Non ho capito bene cosa intende, però puoi selezionarli forse.
That's part of it, right? Taking all the things which are kind of static or predictable, and then
Ho
giving
capito, tipo li puoi mettere te dove ti pare.
But if we're playing together, what's the combination of things that we're taking? And that's part of
Non ho capito cosa intendi.
to defeat a map or get an advantage on the map as well.
Poi il jug sempre nello stesso punto.
All right, well, we will see more,
Uno
it
dei
sounds
spawn
like,
ce lo
at
puoi mettere
Comic-Con
te.
about that. And got to say, you know, an incredible reveal for Black Ops 4. I know how hard everyone at Treyarch worked to, you know, put all that content together, an hour of stuff. And, you know, we don't even know that much about Blackout yet. I saw Vaughn and Bunting the other day on the YouTube show, and they're like, no more hints. But I think they talked about ballistics of weapons and how, you know, but that was about all we got. So it's amazing to see what you guys are putting together, and we can't wait to see more and play it this October. Give it up to the guys from Treyarch.
Thank you.
Black Ops 4.
Non ha detto un cazzo.
Thanks, guys. We'll be right back. Check.
Ma delusissimo del...
Adam, thanks, man. Right, see you.
Cioè, raga, alla fine non hanno parlato veramente di un cazzo.
Chiudiamo.
A me...
Era ovvio che non potessero dire più.
Vabbè, ma un qualcosa, cioè... Boh. Alla fine ti sei preso 40... Cioè, l'intervista l'hai accettata, non è che ti hanno obbligato a fare questa intervista, no? Ti sei preso 45 minuti di intervista su... alle 3, che comunque... Boh, io non... avrei fatto diversamente, cioè avrei...
Ma la mappa?
La mappa allora ha detto praticamente che
Sì, però
è ambientata nel Pentagono e ci sarà come personaggi ci saranno quelli di Bio1.
E quindi è 5.
Ha detto semplicemente che è ambientata nel Pentagono.
Quindi sì.
Se è un remastered...
Sì, sì.
Se è un remastered a tutti gli effetti è 5.
Ma
che cazzo era un rumore?
Non lo so, ho sentito pure io.
Vabbè ragazzi, io direi che possiamo stoppare qua la live. Non ho capito bene la cosa dei perk. Tu hai capito meglio, Dani?
Io ho capito che tipo invece di fare le classiche perk machine ci saranno tipo i perk che puoi scegliere prima della partita, ma non sono sicuro.
Vabbè. Diciamo che la live si può concludere qui perché comunque le informazioni che abbiamo sono veramente poche, cioè alla fine non hanno detto niente. È inutile stare qua a parlare di niente, perché alla fine hanno fatto 45 minuti di intervista del cazzo. Cioè, sinceramente io dico le cose come le penso. Per me non hanno fatto tutto sto granché.
Per me è no.
Vabbè, dopo questa perla del Pandoro, diciamo che possiamo stoppare qua la live.